There is one color in the Cane Corso world that stops every conversation in the room. Not black, not brindle, not gray. Formentino, a faded fawn coat with a blue-gray mask. Pale, almost ghostly, unlike anything else in the breed. And breeders have been fighting over it for decades. Some call it the rarest and most beautiful expression of the Cane Corso coat. Others call it a genetic red flag, a sign of dilution that weakens the breed's foundation. Both sides are right, and that's exactly why the argument never ends. What is Formentino? Where it comes from? Why it's controversial? And whether it's actually worth the price tag attached to it. The Formentino Cane Corso has a pale fawn base coat, sometimes almost cream, with a distinctive blue-gray or slate-colored mask covering the muzzle and eyes. It's not a color you can fake. It's not a dye job. It's the result of a very specific combination of recessive genes that have to align perfectly to produce this coat, which is why it's rare and why it's expensive. Now here's where the genetics get interesting. Every dog carries 2 copies of the gene that controls base coat color. In standard fawn corsos, that gene produces a rich, warm tan, like wheat in summer. Formentino happens when a second gene, the dilution gene, steps in and mutes that fawn down to something cooler, paler, almost washed out. The same dilution gene is responsible for blue corsos, blue brindle corsos, and blue fawn corsos. Formentino is simply what happens when dilution meets fawn at its most extreme expression. So genetically, a Formentino is a dilute fawn. That's it. Beautiful, but dilute. And that word, dilute, is where the war begins. The Italian Cane Corso Association, the ENCI, and the FCI, the 3 governing bodies that define what a Cane Corso should be, do not recognize Formentino as an accepted breed color. They recognize black, gray, fawn, brindle, and their variations. But dilute fawn, Formentino, sits outside that list. Because dilution in dogs is genetically linked to a condition called Color Dilution Alopecia, or CDA. CDA causes progressive hair thinning, skin fragility, and recurring infections, specifically in dogs carrying the dilution gene. Not every dilute dog develops CDA, but the risk is real. And kennel clubs decided the standard should not include colors that carry elevated health risk. That's the anti-Formentino argument in its strongest form. It's not about aesthetics, it's about health. But breeders on the other side of this debate will tell you something different. They'll tell you that CDA rates in well-bred Cane Corsos are low, that responsible breeding can screen for it, that the dilution gene has existed in the Corso bloodline for generations, long before any kennel club decided to exclude it. And they'll tell you that the market has already voted. Formentino Cane Corsos sell for between $3,000 and $8,000, sometimes more. Demand is not slowing down, which brings us to the real tension underneath this entire debate. This isn't just about coat color. It's about who controls the definition of the breed. Kennel clubs set the standard. Breeders produce the dogs. Buyers decide what they want. And right now, buyers want Formentino. So where does Formentino actually come from in terms of geography and history? The Cane Corso is an ancient Italian breed, descended from Roman war dogs called Canis pugnax, used in combat and big game hunting across the empire. The breed nearly went extinct in the mid-20th century, surviving only in the rural south of Italy, Puglia, Campania, Calabria, where farmers kept working lines for property and livestock protection. Formentino coat dogs were present in those original working populations. Old photographs and farmer accounts confirm it. It wasn't introduced by modern breeders chasing exotic colors. It was always there in the original bloodlines, which is exactly why some breeders argue that excluding Formentino from the standard is historically inaccurate. Now let's talk about what actually separates a well-bred Formentino from a badly bred one, because this distinction matters enormously. A well-bred Formentino has a uniform pale fawn coat with a clean blue-gray mask, correct bone structure, a wide, powerful skull, and documented health testing, including hip and elbow scores and cardiac clearance. A badly bred Formentino is produced by a breeder chasing color with no regard for structure, temperament, or health screening. These dogs often carry multiple dilution copies that amplify the CDA risk significantly. The coat may look identical at 8 weeks old. The difference shows up at 3 years. This is the core argument responsible breeders make. Formentino itself isn't the problem. Irresponsible breeding for color at the expense of everything else is the problem. And that argument applies to every rare color in every breed, not just the Cane Corso. So should you own a Formentino Cane Corso? If you find a breeder who health tests, produces dogs with correct structure and temperament, and can show you documented lineage, yes, the color is stunning. The dog underneath it, when bred correctly, is every bit the guardian the breed is known for. If someone is selling you a Formentino puppy at a premium with no health testing, no pedigree, and no kennel club documentation, the premium is for the color, not the dog. Walk away. The Formentino Cane Corso is not a designer breed. It's not a mutation. It's not a gimmick. It's an ancient color in an ancient breed, caught in the middle of a very modern argument about who gets to define what a dog should look like. And until the kennel clubs and the breeders find common ground, the fight goes on.